The biggest threat that we face to religious freedom is that people don't know what it is or why it matters. For the Colson Center, I'm John Stonestreet. This is Breakpoint. There are reasons that religious freedom is called the first freedom. Of course, it's listed first in the Bill of Rights. But more importantly, it is a freedom on which all the other freedoms depend. Chuck Colson once said it this way: "Our founding fathers believed, as I do, that without freedom of religion and freedom of conscience, all of our other freedoms aren't worth the paper they're written on. If government can dictate what we may or may not believe or how we may or may not live out our beliefs, then we are no longer a free people." Now look, if that's true, which it is, then we can rightly say that American freedoms are less secure today than they were a decade ago. And without the courage of people like Masterpiece Cakeshop owner Jack Phillips, the Little Sisters of the Poor, and the Green family of Hobby Lobby, among others, we'd be in an even more fragile state. These folks believe that religious freedom is worth standing for and that their most precious and most deeply held beliefs do not belong to the government. They place their businesses, livelihoods, and in some cases personal safety at stake to defend that freedom, enlisting the wise legal counsel of organizations like the Alliance Defending Freedom and Beckett. But even this impressive string of important, crucial legal wins in court are insufficient to sustain religious freedom long term if we do not rebuild a cultural consensus of what religious freedom actually is and why it matters. The fact is, a growing number of Americans see religious freedom as a self-serving relic of America's past that only offers contemporary believers a license to discriminate against others. As America's become more and more secular and religious beliefs seen more and more as matters of private preference, the very idea that we ought to have the freedom to order not only our personal moral choices but our public lives around our deeply held beliefs, that just seems strange. When those beliefs collide with the values ushered in by the sexual revolution, they seem intolerant, bigoted, even evil. The days when religious freedom can be considered as American as baseball and apple pie are over. And though strong winds in the courts and a dramatically improved judiciary have helped slow the speed at which religious freedom is being lost, there's not a future for religious freedom until we're able to convince people of the intrinsic good it brings and has brought to the world. Well, thankfully, Luke Goodrich, a member of the Beckett legal team that's won 4 Supreme Court cases just in recent years, has made a marvelous contribution to the task ahead of us in his new book, Free to Believe: The Battle Over Religious Liberty in America. Goodrich was there when the Supremes ruled in Little Sisters of the Poor versus Burwell, which protected nuns from being forced to violate their faith. He was there with Burwell versus Hobby Lobby and Conestoga Wood Products, which protected family business owners from being forced to violate their faith. And he was there for Hosanna Tabor versus EEOC, which protected the right of churches to select their ministers. Goodrich not only provides a clear picture of the state of religious freedom in America, he offers clear steps for what we need to do in order to better explain it and better defend it. A recent Barna poll revealed that about 55% of Americans strongly agree that true religious freedom means that all citizens must have freedom of conscience, which means being able to believe and practice the core commitments and values of your faith. Just 5 years ago, the percentage was 69%. Look, even Protestant clergy are significantly less concerned today about religious freedom. To me, this just means one thing: we've got a lot of work to do. We'll be hosting a free webinar with Luke Goodrich to talk about the ideas in his book, Free to Believe. Just come to breakpoint.org in order to register. It takes place Friday, October 4th, and if you can't make it to the live session, we'll send you a link to the recording, and we'll gladly send you a copy of Goodrich's book, Free to Believe, for your donation of any amount to Breakpoint and the Colson Center this month. Just come to breakpoint.org. For Breakpoint, I'm John Stonestreet.